Hello, everybody. My name is Ana Rezende, and in this podcast, I will share my transformational journey to become a health coach. In each episode, I will address a different subject that impacts our health, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Because I've learned that being healthy means being in balance. If you would like to make amazing discoveries, improve your health, get inspired, and yet find sustainable ways to live and help the planet, tune in. You are in the right place. I'm your host, Ana Rezende, and good is what makes you feel well is Mama Terra's podcast.
Toma banho de cachoeira, abraça uma pessoa amiga, corre na chuva, escala a montanha, contempla a vista, transcende, levita.
On today's episode, I'm talking to Cadin Naylor, who is Barbara and Kevin Naylor's oldest son. Cadin is living proof that the seeds we plant in our kids throughout parenthood will sooner or later become sprouts. After graduating from high school and working in the food industry for almost a decade, Cadin fell in love with culinary mushrooms. He then started the research which led him to start his own mushroom farm. Misty Mountain Mushrooms is now a formal LLC, and under Cadin's growing entrepreneurial knowledge and strong sustainable principles, will grow to be our local resource for fresh mushrooms, like Oyster, Maine, and Cordyceps, to name a few. Cadin continues to learn about different species and sustainable ways to improve his production. I just loved our conversation and how inspiring his story is for other young adults looking for a purpose-driven professional life. Please welcome Cadin Naylor. Welcome once again. I'm so glad that we could talk.
Yeah.
So, I've talked to your parents. Cadin is Barbara and Kevin Naylor's oldest. Mm-hmm. So, it is really, really nice to have somebody that can give us a testimony of how it is to be raised by such amazing parents. Yeah. Because I'm a big fan of your parents.
They are amazing.
So, yeah, tell us, how was your experience in growing up with them and the main teachings, and then we'll start from there and go to your actual life and your actual business.
Okay. So, I guess sustainability started with my parents. I remember us always having a garden. So we always tried to eat more whole foods and always get in the dirt with our fingers, and touch all the microbiomes. And, I don't think they knew about that, but they knew there was something to it at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was something they were catching on to and just kept pulling them in and further and further. And so I think my mom started making her own laundry soap, her own house cleaning supplies, and anything she could, because she just saw all the negative effects of everything that's on the shelves, for the most part. I would say that's where it all started. It all started with the garden, and then just seeing behind the veil that I guess big corporations kind of put in front of our faces with advertising and, stuff like that. She just kind of started seeing through it. And that's where it all starts with sustainability, I guess. You want to just kind of step away and start doing things, getting back to the roots of doing things, how we all used to originally. So
absolutely,
I think that's where it all started for her. I think it was big for my mom at first, and then then they started seeing that all in the food industry, and then just how negatively animals can get treated, and all those documentaries, Food Inc. Yeah, any of those crazy. They went just down that rabbit hole of all the documentaries showing all the bad stuff that could happen, and it's scary.
It is super scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did the same thing, and I did not ask them. But are you vegan? Are you?
Mm-mm.
No.
I tried a little bit. I think I mainly ate bread, so it was just
not good.
It was no. I couldn't really keep with it. I'm definitely a meat eater.
No,
so.
That's awesome. I just remembered that I forgot to ask them if they were, because that was something that really touched me when watching those documentaries. Not only on the food industry and agriculture, but then on the animal farms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really
That's my
hard
dad.
for me too. Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's like, it's for the animals. It's for the animals. My dad is still vegan. So.
Yeah, so it is really, it was really hard for me to eat meat again, even chicken again after I saw that.
Yeah.
But it's just, personal. So then you had this teaching by example from your parents, and have you helped them in the garden as well?
Yeah.
Because then when they started, you were already an adult, right? Because
when they started doing the farmers
market,
yeah,
yes,
really going
yes.
all into it. Yeah, my parents taught me mainly hard work. I didn't like it at the time. I was a big complainer, but that's one thing that I take high value from is they put me through the ringer on some hard work, getting out there helping dad with, the yard work and on hot days. And I really appreciate that now, because I enjoy that. I enjoy going out on a hot summer day and picking vegetables or getting in the garden, or even, it's kind of pushed, it gives me that driving push, so that knowing that I can endure because they've taught me to endure, so and pushed me. So I didn't really get to see I think I came over when I moved out. I was kind of just moving and grooving and working and partying a lot, so I wasn't really around until I was 20, so it took a couple years for me to kind of come back to the house. But when I did come back, their entire backyard was no longer grass. The dog only had a square of grass to poop, So it was a big change, and I was just like, wow, this is really interesting. And that's what drew me into the whole, I guess, growing your own stuff. And then the profit too, and not just the profit. I guess it's more of the value you get. There's profit, but it's that you're supplying your community too.
Oh yeah.
You're not just doing this for yourself, so you're now sharing what you're bountying basically.
Yeah, so. It's absolutely really rewarding.
Yeah.
When we can do that. Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me your story. So you graduated from high school. Did you go to Maryville High?
I bounced around high schools a little bit.
Okay.
So I was homeschooled a little bit. I went to Heritage a little bit, but I graduated from homeschooling.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell me why. That's interesting.
Troublemaker.
Oh.
I was a troublemaker. Yeah, I needed something to do, and I just maybe if we had a bigger garden back then, maybe I wouldn't have been as unruly.
Okay.
I was a little bit of a troublemaker though. Yeah, I guess I'm the oldest. And I don't know. I don't really know why I was so troublesome.
You didn't fit in a regular, normal school. That is what you felt?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't bounce around from school to school growing up. We kind of changed counties growing up a little bit. Maybe not counties, more I think I went to a few different elementary schools growing up, and then it was just hard to keep friends. Mm-hmm. So each new school I went to, it was change of friends, and so there's never a core solid group that I've kind of stuck with.
So you didn't have that incentive of being with your friends actually at school because you didn't have that group of friends at school. Yeah. It
was always kind of changing every few years and whatnot. So
okay. Yeah.
I guess that probably leads to a little unruliness.
So then after you graduated high school, then you moved out of the house. Did you go to college or anything?
No, I started working in this restaurant service industry when I was 16. My first job was Taco Bell.
Okay.
So I got to see the bottom of the bottom of the food industry. And ever since then, for the past almost 10 years, I've been in the food industry. So I've worked front of house, serving, I've worked back of house in kitchens, and I've worked all over at bars, at marinas, and so I've just seen a wide variety of people and businesses.
Okay, that is interesting. Tell me, what have you learned from seeing what is behind, especially the fast food industry, the back, behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's all profit based. There's no incentive for people to do or even question what they're doing. It's It's all about profit.
Remarks from like quality of ingredients and whatnot.
Yeah, I found a passion for cooking when I was 15, 16. I've always liked cooking and helping my mom cook in the kitchen anyways. When you go to those kinds of places, it's really just take it out of the bag and put it on the taco or put it on the plate. You know, it's really all pre-made and it feels fake. It just doesn't feel right. You're not cooking.
Yeah. I don't think it's just a feel. It's actually pretty much fake, right? Yeah. So you're just not cooking at all.
No.
Yeah, just prepping. Yeah, and that is how the school food is. So I was listening to this podcast the other day, and the guy was saying that he was talking about fast food industry, and he said, can you guess what is in the US the biggest fast food chain?
McDonald's.
Yeah. Everybody has a guess. And then the guy said, well, I think it's Chick-fil-A because it's more expensive. So in value, they might have, I don't know.
Right.
And he said, nope, it's the schools. It's the public schools are the biggest fast food chain.
Wow.
Because every single school is using fast food.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that is how bad it is. So not only you young kids are exposed to fast food on the streets, you are eating it at school as well. And
crazy.
Most of the kids are eating that at home too. So, and that's why this whole picture that we have now, that obesity is just skyrocketing in kids, diabetes, mental health issues, because what they are eating, we are just poisoning our kids. Everything is toxic, and then plus they have that's why I asked you about the high school, the environment, because I have 2 kids and my daughter is a junior. She goes to Maryville High, but she doesn't enjoy high school. And she was, my son didn't like it neither. He actually hated school. He made it through and graduated from one high school the whole 4 years, but he always hated, and he still hates when he talks about it. So it affected him in a way that was so strong that he still carries, and he's almost 21 and he still carries those grudges from high school, you know. That's why I asked. But then my daughter is a junior. She's a social butterfly. She makes friends like just blinking, but even though she doesn't enjoy it. So what I think is, besides the food, the environment is a kind of a little bit toxic too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I asked you. I wanted to.
Definitely, yeah. I grew up, the things I hear about my siblings in school, what's going on is just, compared to what I was experiencing, I guess I just didn't really hang out with anybody because I didn't put up with it. So if I wasn't trying to be accepted by anybody growing up, if people didn't like me and they made it clear, it hurt, but I wasn't trying to be around them or hang around them, so I would just keep to myself if I had to, because I just don't put up with that. And so yeah, you're right, it can be very toxic. Yeah,
because you have to be really strong. And I'm glad you had this strong personality to not put up with all the bad stuff, but we know that half of the kids, or even a higher percentage of the kids, don't have that strong personality or capability of resisting that. And so we had a very bad case of suicide the other day on, I think it was the county school, William Blount.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's bad. It is really sad. So it's so interesting for me to see your perspective because you were a young kid. So what else did you learn from like working on the food industry? And tell me about your passion. How did you actually found out that it was your passion to cook and the food industry and all that? How everything led you to that path?
Well, it's hard work, which is something that I learned from my parents, and so I can take value in that and apply that and excel through the eyes of my higher ups. So I can get like rewarded and promoted and told good job, good pat on the back, you know. So it feels good to do hard work whenever other people value that. So it feels good to be valued. How I found my passion, I don't know. I've always loved cooking. Whenever I would cook something for my parents and they would all be like, oh, this is so good. It's not as rewarding when you just cook for yourself. And even if you spend like 2 or 3 hours in the kitchen, I did the other night, I made gyros and homemade everything. So it's not as rewarding. I sat there, I ate it, it was delicious, but nobody else told me anything. And so it's so much more rewarding. I feel like that's where I got mainly that passion, was just pleasing others. I guess I'm like my mother. I'm quite a people pleaser. I can be, but it feels good. It feels good to bring value to others.
Of course. And that is how community actually helps us. Not only by feeling rewarded by compliments and the aspect of fitting in and being part of something and being able to share and support each other. And I think that is the biggest value on community, and that is why everybody feels well when they are doing something supporting the community. And that is really, really important, and a big part of our well-being is community.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Awesome. And then from the food industry, how did you find your way to mushrooms? And tell me about your company and your business and how everything started and how you're doing now.
Yeah. So I was working at a more higher end restaurant, Amici's down here in Maryville. Yeah.
I've been there.
You like it?
Uh-huh.
What did you get?
Oh, I had the mushroom risotto. We went there Sunday.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
And I did ask if they bought it from you. Did they?
No, not those probably.
Okay.
I'm out of commission for a little bit. I'm looking to harvest in a couple more weeks.
Because I was interested in knowing. So where do you guys buy these mushrooms from? And he said a different name. I did not recognize your company's name, so I said, okay, I'll try it. But it was so good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
He does an amazing job. The chef over there, Chris, is amazing with it's art. It really is. It's just delicious food. It's amazing Italian food. So I was on the opening team, the opening server team there. So I got to go in and try all the food, and he's really big on buying local and supporting local farmers and just, giving people the freshest food that they can. So he makes the dough there, he makes the pasta daily, he makes the sauce daily from tomatoes. I mean, he just does such a good job down there. Okay. And he would buy mushrooms. So he bought mushrooms from Mossy Creek Mushrooms up in Jefferson City whenever I was there. And I had never seen oyster mushrooms. Growing up, I've always been feel like most Americans kind of afraid of mushrooms. You go near one, pick one up. Mom says, hey, don't do that. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
And that kind of
that's one thing.
Yeah. Well, it's completely understandable, especially if you don't know about it. Yeah. So I kind of grew up with like a fear of mushrooms. Even going in the woods, I won't eat a mushroom if I don't know what it is. I have to be very cautious, and I really don't eat mushrooms from the wild unless they're chanterelles and something that I can for sure identify. Yeah. But so
then you saw the guy bringing up the mushrooms.
And then I just fell in love with them immediately. I was just the way they looked, the big blue cluster. They were kind of bluish, and it was just beautiful. And so I asked the chef. I was like, "Where did you get these? He grows these. How does it work?" And he talked about me going up there and doing a tour with him, maybe. And I got all excited, and I messaged him. I didn't end up going for a tour, but we did start talking. He told me Andrew Reed, who runs Mossy Creek, he told me that he has a YouTube channel. And so he does how-to videos on how to grow mushrooms. He was showing his whole setup in his basement, his whole farm. He was growing somewhere around 500 or 600 pounds a week.
Wow!
In that basement, so it was cool for him to.
That's a lot because they don't weigh almost nothing,
yeah,
right?
No, yeah.
Oh
they're just funny shapes of water. They're like 90% water. Yes. So. Yes. So he was showing videos. All on how to do it, and he was putting up like these big how to make $1,000 or $2,000-$3,000 a week growing mushrooms to draw people into the videos, and I was so drawn in by that. I had already had in the back of my mind my mom and dad were selling at the farmers markets, and it was just kind of bringing me to a realization of just like how big all this is and how I could get into it somehow.
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't have land, and it was just, I was trying to figure out, well, how can I do this? So I just started doing a whole bunch of research online, and I bought some oyster mushroom mycelium. I started growing mushrooms out of my house, and it just continued to grow over the past 3 years into now I have a commercial space, and I have a licensed business, and now I'm selling to a couple restaurants. So
that is so cool.
It's crazy how it's progressed, and I just hope for future progression, just
that
keep going.
That is so awesome. So tell us the name of your business and how did you pick the name? Because I see that you were not sure about the logo yet. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Not quite. Everything.
You have a couple designs that you were studying.
Yeah, definitely. So everything's kind of nothing's for certain yet.
Okay.
Like set in stone.
Even the name?
Even the name. Maybe in a couple years we might transition into something else. I don't know. This is more been like a people project for me. Okay. Honestly, I wouldn't call this thing all mine. Okay. Because people have put in their input. I've taken a lot of advice from other people.
But do you have any partners, like official partners?
No.
You made a sole proprietor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the only. Company. Yeah, I'm the owner of the company. But there's just been so much input. I can't say it's all just me. So. But yeah, I'm the only owner. So, but the name came from a friend of mine, Adam Cocherel. He runs Sugar Tree Gourmet.
Oh.
He does like truffles and caviar and other farm products too. He'll do like lettuce and carrots and stuff like that. But he's really big in the local community also. So he kind of kicked my butt into gear last year. He was like, "Come on, man, let's do this mushroom thing. Like, I see you growing out of your house. Let's get a space. Let's do this thing for real." And he just kind of got me excited. And so I last year I got offered a space, and I just kind of went all in. And so he's the real big reason for me kind of getting into restaurants right now. But he threw out the name Misty Mountain Mushrooms. And he's like, maybe we can tie it into the Hobbit, the Misty Mountains, for some kind of future logo or design on a logo. So I asked him if I could take the name, and he agreed. And so here we are, Misty Mountain Mushrooms.
Okay, so, that is so cool.
Not a big story.
Yeah, but it's interesting. So tell me, so your friend Adam, he was key in the process of you like actually starting. Yeah. But do you still have a job and you're doing this on the side, or you were full-time doing this?
I am still, so full-time, I'm a kitchen manager at Smoky Mountain Brewery in Maryville. Oh. And so, but yeah, this is kind of a part-time thing that I'm pushing for full-time.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm kind of juggling both right now and trying to build the business and work the restaurant industry. So it's fun. It's fun. And
that's a very nice place, right? They have a great restaurant as well, don't they? In the Blackberry Farm?
I'm at Smoky Mountain Brewery, so I'm with the Coppers.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I wish I was at Blackberry.
Oh yeah.
I bet they make some really nice food.
Yeah. They have a big waiting list to go there, and it's really expensive. Yeah. So I thought you said Smoky Mountain Brewery. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So you were working there part-time then?
What's that? The brewery?
The brewery.
Mm-hmm. Or no, I think I've been there. I'm going on 3 years now. Okay. So yeah, I'm going on 3 years at the brewery. I think after a year they made me kitchen manager or kitchen supervisor. So I kind of babysit a lot of the workers and try to keep the grind going. So that's my job there, and cook and everything else. But yeah, it's a full-time thing. I work 40 hours. That's what I'm using to bootstrap my business right now. Okay. And get it up and running.
And so then the time that you need to actually dedicate to your mushrooms, you can do it on the side for now.
Yeah.
And that's what you were doing. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a labor-intensive kind of thing.
Mushrooms?
Yeah.
There are some parts of it that can take a little bit, like making those bags. So each one of those bags makes around a pound of mushrooms, oyster mushrooms at least. And then so I'll make, if I want to do 100 pounds a week, so I'll have to make 100 of those. So it can get a little labor intensive. There's machinery in the industry that could make it a lot faster, but it costs a little bit of money. So that's definitely the direction I want to be going in, is faster, better, more. So yeah, it's a little labor intensive. It's more paying attention to all the little details. Like you have to watch your mushrooms, the fruiting rooms. You just have to really pay attention every week. The walls, you have to make sure there's no mold or anything growing, because the humidity is usually around 80 to 90% at all times. So other competitor molds will try to grow in there, and you just have to kind of keep a keen eye on every little bit. And that's a weekly thing. On top of doing the production and then harvesting and then delivering, it can get a little labor intensive.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. You were doing it on the side, but you were like working hard. Like I said, you always work hard.
Definitely. Yeah. My job, thankfully, it's a kitchen job, but and it can be demanding when I'm there, but they are really flexible. So I've been really grateful for the team that I do work with at the Smoky Mountain Brewery. They are just really understanding, and my bosses push me to go and achieve my dreams. So I recently dropped down to 4 days there, and so I'm doing 3 days at the mushroom farm and 4 days at Smoky Mountain Brewery. So, and they're okay with it. I took off my Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and they kind of gave me a little bit of, come on, man, why you gotta take off the whole weekend? So, but they gave it to me, and so they're really supportive of it. So
that's wonderful.
It's good to have a team that's behind me.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, always good. That is so neat that they are recognizing that you have a dream and you are pursuing that, and they are giving you space to pursue that, because that is not always the case.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And so it's really, really neat that you found the people to give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your support from your parents, and then now you found your tribe that's helping you to grow. That is super neat. So tell me your plans for the future. So you said you rented a bigger facility now. So how is that going?
It's going all right. It's a lot to overcome, but
how big is it?
It's close to around 3,000 square foot.
Okay.
So it's a 22 bay self-storage facility.
Okay.
So it's climate controlled and everything. I'm currently just kind of renovating all of that out, doing some construction on the inner walls of the self-storage facility, just to kind of open it up so it's not like individual rooms. I'm taking down the walls and just creating big spaces for me to work in. I use grow tents, so to fruit the mushrooms. A lot of people are like, well, what about high humidity, and what do you do about that? And so I grow in kind of pop-up grow tents, like 4x8 grow tents.
Okay.
And so I'll use those for humidity. That's what I'm using right now. It's really small scale because it's cost efficient. And it's kind of just where my budget is with bootstrapping it. But the future with this space, I mean, there's a lot of space.
Oh.
So I'm hoping by the end of this year, I'm hoping to be growing around 200 pounds a week. And then 3 years, I'd love to have that place fully outfitted and be growing in upwards of 500 to 600 pounds a week. I'm hoping to hire within a couple years too. So having somebody else on the team, and I think I'm going to take my time with that though. I really take my time and figure out a proper candidate and a proper pay.
Oh yeah.
And that's a whole nother challenge, is being an employer. But it is. That's why I appreciate this manager job so much, because it's kind of giving me
the experience you need
to work with people and manage people. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. And get to know them, because that is really an important trait, to be able to recognize and feel the good match to work with you.
Yes.
Because that is what it's really important. Yeah, you have to have the good feeling that the partnership is going to work, right?
Yes.
And that is really, really key.
And then how to manage through the bad times, because there are going to be bad times.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then how to manage through those, definitely. So yeah, that
Very
first initial feeling is so important.
Very cool. So what species, do we call them species or kinds or species?
Species, yeah.
Yeah. So how many, and what are the species, and how did you pick them?
Yeah.
So
I guess the mushroom community is pretty niche. So anyone that's in the community, does research or grows their own mushrooms, once you get in, it's just like you get sucked in. I guess it would be the same thing like my mom just has. You should see her seed bank. It's just so many
massive,
seeds. Yeah. And it's kind of like how mushroom people are with their strains or species. So I probably have close to 10 species
Okay.
I don't grow all 10.
Uh-huh.
I mainly just grow oyster mushrooms, lion's mane. I experiment with reishi.
Okay.
I like to really just get the experience for whatever I can grow. They all grow differently. They all take different time frames. Some of them need colder, some of them need warmer.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
It's not easy to like have just one space, like you said, and grow them all because they all need different things. Different, yeah.
Different airflow. Some don't need as much. It's really interesting and a great field to be like learning about things right now.
Oh yeah.
But I grow mainly oyster mushrooms. That's what most of my chefs buy for me. But I also have enoki, I have pioppino, chestnut.
I love chestnut.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
I would love to get into growing those full time. I have probably 4 different kinds of oyster mushrooms. So it's cool to see the different varieties in each species. So there's a blue oyster, there's a gold oyster, there's a pink.
I've never seen any
There's
with
a
colors.
white,
No,
yeah.
just the like regular ones.
Oh, I'll get some pinks going for you this summer, and we'll be sure to get you some pinks.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of people call them the salmon mushroom. They say they kind of have
Oh
like a
my
salmon-y
gosh.
fish taste to
And
them.
where is the color from? Do you know?
Like
Because
where in the
it
world?
has to be, it has to be in some minerals in the water or in the, because the color, the Himalayan pink salt, that is a mineral that they have on the salt mines of that region.
Right.
And that what gives them the pink color. So I'm wondering what is gonna give the pink color to the mushroom.
Yeah, you've got me interested.
Because it has to be
wonder-
either in the water or in the substrate.
What about genetics? What if it's genetically?
I don't know.
I think that might be I think it's genetics. I believe so.
Okay, yeah,
'Cause-
that might be.
Like, because they're all oyster mushrooms. They're all...
Because they are living organisms, and yeah, the salt is just a mineral. You got it.
Maybe genetics. I'm not a biologist, and I'm not a mycologist either. I'm just a mushroom farmer. So, but I enjoyed studying mycology and all those cool science things about it.
Yeah.
But
That is really interesting.
a lot of cool people. What I really think is cool in the mushroom industry right now is breeding. People are taking microscopic spores of these mushrooms and breeding them and creating their own different varieties of strains.
Wow.
Or species. So it's a really interesting industry right now.
But one thing that you said that you have to be careful and observe and really take care of everything and pay attention to all the details. But that is like gardening. Gardening is the same thing. And I was talking to your parents, and while I was researching for making my own garden, I saw this video from a very nice guy that he teaches on YouTube. And he said that the gardener's main tool is a chair.
Why?
Yeah, a chair for you to sit and observe.
Oh.
Observe what kind of insects are coming, birds, butterflies, what else, bunnies or like wild animals, what kind of bees are you attracting, and then of course how is it growing, what is growing better, what is not, the airflow, this and that. So it is all about the details, and you having that owner's eye to observe and understand and learn, because that is how we learn, right? So as much time as you spend with your mushrooms and then understanding how they behave, because they are living organisms.
They are.
Like the plants.
They breathe oxygen like us.
Yes.
And they exhale CO2.
Yeah. Isn't that
wild.
awesome?
It is wild. If you walk into a big mushroom room and the exhaust fans shut off, you can suffocate. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
That is so amazing, isn't it?
It's wild.
Of course, I'm going to ask, but yeah. Have you watched the Fantastic Fungi?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is
I think I bought that movie.
They did the same thing. It was so incredible what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, besides being like beautifully done, the movie was like the knowledge and all the research and everything else that is behind it. It's just amazing. There's so much about them that most people don't know, right? And that is why I think it's growing so much right now. And I think
you were so lucky to be in this position at this time, because I think that is the time that this mushroom knowledge is going to explode.
Yeah.
Because they are so healthy.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I'm so grateful to be like where I am right now, and it is amazing how little we know. I think just a little over a decade we gave them their own kingdom, so we know nothing compared to other countries like China and Japan, who have been implementing and learning all this time
and eating them all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and mass producing all different kinds. And yeah, those are the countries that I feel like we learn a lot from. I feel like that's where we get a lot of our species from too.
Okay.
Like I'm growing a black pearl king, and that one came from Japan, I think. So I think someone went over there, grabbed a mushroom, brought it back to the States, and then cloned it, and then now that species is here. Because I don't think they really open source and sell genetics over here. They like to keep their industry within theirs, and which is understandable. It's like patented,
of course, yeah,
technology and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just there's so much room for this industry to grow. We were talking about like mycological packing tools, just like instead of using styrofoam, use mycelium. There's art, there's food, medicine. We have not even touched the tip of the iceberg for what kind of fungal medicines we can create. I know that's something that's going crazy right now with pharmaceutical industries, is they're trying to figure that stuff out. So
I bet they are.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking right now that is really interesting, I don't know what timing, because if we look at all the ancient remedies and all the ancient knowledge about health, we do see mushrooms as medicinal, like for like thousands of years. I don't know when we lost track of that and forgot them, and now we are kind of getting that knowledge back, but I don't know what caused us to lose track of them back then, because we could be just using them all along, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, and that I don't know if it was the Western medicine, or I don't know.
Maybe the Industrial Revolution.
Maybe the Industrial Revolution. Maybe.
Let's always go and grind and constantly work to make money so you can do this and that.
And they cannot be processed. Oh, well, I think they can, but I don't know. That's interesting. Very interesting. But so have you researched all the benefits of them as well, or not so much?
I have done quite a bit. It's something that I always like to, and it's something that's changing too. So I would like to say that there are a lot of studies that have been done and have been proven. There's also stuff that is folklore, I guess you could say, but it's ancient medicine, I guess you could say, but it hasn't been proven to work.
Okay.
So there are, I don't know, I heard a mushroom farmer kind of pose this like question, and I don't think she was trying to be mean, but she was just like, you're talking about a consumer. She was saying, you'll question everything about what's in your Cheetos bag, but when someone hands you a mushroom tincture, you just take it and num num num. But and it kind of got me thinking when she said that. I was like, well, yeah, we really don't know for sure the effects on turkey tail, reishi, lion's mane. We know some of the positives and from the small studies that have been done, but we just don't know too much for certain. So this is where I just want to be cautious for some people, I guess, is like reishi, you shouldn't, if you are going through I think it's a certain type of chemo, or maybe in chemo in general, don't quote me, but it's not advised to take a reishi tincture because it can mess with the chemo, and I think it can do more damage than good. So
yeah, the combination of the two, right?
Yeah. So I think there's just a lot of research that needs to be done in the whole medicinal, making extracts and tinctures and then trying to sell those as a product, just so that we know what we're giving to people, and so people are also informed like of the consequences, positive or negative. So
yeah, I understand, and it's it's all right.
We're all learning.
Yeah, we have to be cautious always. I was wondering, where do you buy your starters from and how do you call them?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways you can buy genetics. So I would just call it genetics. And you can buy those in a liquid culture, which is basically like a sugar water.
Okay.
So you know what mycelium is. It's whenever you kick leaves over and it's that white stuff. So that's basically what I start with, is pure white mycelium. And that either comes in like the liquid culture, the sugar water, or it can come on an agar plate.
Okay.
So, and then what I do is I go from that mycelium first, and I also have to do all this in kind of a lab setting. Everything I have to work in front of a HEPA flow hood. I have to sterilize everything with isopropyl, and everything just has to be really. I wear a mask and gloves. I look like a scientist almost, but
it's
I feel
a science.
Yeah, I'm in a lab, I guess.
Yeah, definitely is.
But I put that to grain spawn, which is I'll use whole oats, or you can use like rye grain. And then you will hydrate it and sterilize it in a pressure cooker.
Okay.
Tell me if I'm losing you at all. Then once that's cooled, then you put the mycelium in the bag with the grain.
Okay.
And we seal it up, and then it grows into that grain.
Okay, so you give them some food, and the food is either oats or rye or...
Yeah, some kind of grain. They'll do just about any kind of sugary grain, basically. So, and then it goes into that, and then once that turns completely white, and it eats all the grain, basically, we break up the grain, and then each grain has the mycelium in it. It's penetrated through, and then we'll split that grain bag up into 20 substrate bags.
Oh, wow.
Which that is hardwood, and then sawdust, and then a hardwood sawdust usually, and then soy hull pellets. So the soy hull is kind of more like a nutrient for it to give us bigger mushrooms, bigger harvest. And then the sawdust is just the growing medium, basically. So
that is so interesting. And then after that, you just give them water? You keep them moisturized, or just the moisture from the environment?
Yep. So it's kind of like a fogger. It's a dry fog, or like a atomized fog, like a pond fogger, basically. Okay. And then I pump air in with that fogger, and then it just kind of spreads through the whole room, and that's how I keep the humidity.
Okay, so you keep them in all those closed bags.
Yep, it'll be in a bag. Those like to grow in the top, but so for the oyster mushrooms, I'll cut the top of the bag and let all the air out and fold it over, and then I just make slits into the side of the bag.
Okay.
And then they just grow out of those cuts.
Wow.
And then harvest is just easy as just take it off the block.
And then you reuse the block to grow more, or you have to restart it?
Once that block is done, you can usually get a second flush.
Okay.
It'll be a little bit less from the first flush.
Okay.
You can get a third and a fourth flush too, but it's usually not worth it. Your fourth flush might be like one little tiny mushroom. And so after that, it's basically a spent block. And so it can be turned into mushroom compost at that point, or anything else.
I was wondering. So mushroom compost comes from the byproduct of the mushroom industry.
Yep. It's awesome. The mushroom industry is kind of like a recycler. We're using byproducts of soy. We're using the hulls for the nutrients. We're using sawdust, which is...
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is the way to go. I was talking to your parents about this. People think that growing organic is more expensive to grow because, of course, we pay more at the grocery store. So people think it's harder to grow. But if you go back to the basics and you treat the soil right, like composting and doing the worm farm and all that, then for the worm farm, you buy one little bag of worms and they just multiply, right? So that is cost-free, unless for that little tiny bag. Then composting, of course, there is labor involved, but what you get from them, the value that you get, and then the rest of the good you're doing, like composting and reducing garbage, it's amazing. And treating the soil right and doing all that, you are avoiding those pests to come, and then you're not spending any money in pesticides, fertilizer. So I mean,
full circle.
At the end of the day, it's cheaper to grow organic. Then, and like you said, the mushrooms, you just have to give them food, and once they grow, you just enter that cycle of recycling. That is amazing for the environment and for us as a whole. That is incredible. And then you can have your parents recycle your mushroom compost.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
They actually told me no more.
Oh, no, because they have enough.
They have too much.
Oh, my gosh.
So after they told me to stop, I think, and I moved out of my new spot,
I'm on the list.
I got you.
Because I have a little tiny garden. I'm thinking about expanding, but maybe not this year. I started last year,
Cool.
but I have 2 raised beds, 3x8, so it's not much.
What do you grow?
Last year I grew kale, lettuce, tomatoes, herbs, lots of herbs, cucumbers, squash, okra. What else? I think those were the main. And then herbs I did basil, rosemary, sage, thyme, oregano, parsley, green onions. I did a little bit of onions too. I tried, but onions are not easy to grow. Yeah, I think that's it.
Wow, you're doing a lot in the raised beds.
I did, because, I did in different times. Okay. My zucchini, I had 1 zucchini plant and I harvested maybe 8 zucchinis, but I didn't know. I let them grow too much. They were really hard.
Oh, okay.
And then the plant died and then I replaced it too, with other plants. So yeah, it was really, really neat. It was a really rewarding experience. I just love gardening. Well, it's just one of my passions.
I'll be sure to bring you some mushroom compost.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I'll be sure to have plenty. I think I gave a friend of mine 400 or 500 pounds 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So it was just, my whole truck was filled to the brim.
Because actually you got more weight of mushroom compost than the mushroom itself, right? Because it's heavier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I grow in 5-pound blocks. And so it's 2 pounds of substrate and then 3 pounds of water. And I usually get around 2 pounds off of the blocks. So, or 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. Yeah, there's still 2.5 pounds, 3 pounds of substrate. So yeah, there's a lot of weight still left over.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff and it goes right back into the ground.
Perfect. Exactly.
It's mushroom compost.
Yes, it's super valuable. You can start selling it too.
Yeah, I thought about that, definitely.
Because last year when we were working in our garden, we bought from the co-op. They had a very good mushroom compost. I don't know about where it was from, but it was very good quality. And then we mixed up with the topsoil, and the soil was just looking gorgeous, like really rich. You could see the sparkle of the minerals and the bright black color of that soil. Wow. It was awesome. Yeah, keep that in mind. Definitely. That is something you can make money from too.
Definitely. Yeah, I think Andrew up in Jefferson City of Mossy Creek Mushrooms, he's been putting that idea out there on YouTube a lot, using mushroom farms as soil generators.
Oh my gosh. So, is that, yeah.
That's a really cool
idea. That is a future. Definitely. Yeah. So I'm really passionate about regenerative agriculture. And that is what, there is a big movement of people doing that just to regenerate the soil that has been depleted by the monoculture and all the, of course, the pesticides and the chemicals they use to grow crops. But I can foresee this future, this bright future where we are just regenerating everything and reusing everything and enriching the soil with this mushroom compost, and then everybody just being so much more healthy because they're eating better and getting all those healthy benefits from the mushrooms and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah, that is.
I completely agree. Yeah. I think that's the direction everything is. It might not. I think it's definitely going that way. Maybe.
I think so too. It's not gonna be that fast, but maybe my grandkids. I hope they can see that. Yeah, that is really cool. So, where can we eat your mushrooms?
Nowhere.
You were supplying for some restaurants, right?
Yeah, I was supplying for the Walnut Kitchen in Maryville.
I
was supplying for Amici, and it was just those two. But currently, you can't find my mushrooms anywhere because they haven't grown yet.
Oh,
but,
okay. You were working on an next batch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, I am. I'm going to be doing weekly harvests starting this next February.
Okay.
So we'll be having weekly harvest. I'm aiming right now for around 40 pounds a week, but I want to incrementally go up and up and up and up. So
sure.
You will be able to get my mushrooms at the Walnut Kitchen. in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
So
Okay.
definitely have the walnut kitchen and maybe a michi. So it'll just kind of be those two.
Those two for now.
I'm going to be at the Maryville Farmers Market this year.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Are you excited to be there?
Very excited.
Okay, so are you planning on having your production enough at that point to supply those two restaurants and still have some for the market?
Yeah. I'm hoping to be growing in the next 3 months over 100 pounds a week.
Wow, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Are you gonna have your own booth, or are you gonna pair with your parents?
I'll probably have my own booth.
Uh-huh.
Probably just maybe, I don't know. Well, I wonder how all that would work out. So I have to read the application and everything.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, there is another guy that sells mushrooms there, and that is the E.T. mushroom. Have you heard of them? Josiah?
Yeah, Josiah is really cool.
Are you friends with them?
Yeah, I know Josiah.
Yeah, that was another question that I wanted to ask you. How many mushroom farms we have here in the area? Do you know them all? Do you guys like help each other, partner in some way?
That's kind of like this core thing that everyone in the mushroom industry tries to push is like help each other out, you know, because we're all trying to achieve the same thing. Why would we work against each other instead of helping one another out? And so that is just something that I see constantly in the mushroom industry. Anyone who grows mushrooms or teaches about it, it's all about the sharing, the helping, the care. And Josiah has been really awesome. Any kind of question I've had, he's answered it. He's always texted me back. He's always given me good advice. He's helped me out whenever I needed some growing supplies and I couldn't get them shipped to me. So yeah, he's a really cool guy. But for as many mushroom farmers that we have in the Maryville area, Knoxville, greater Knoxville area?
Yeah, greater Knoxville. It might be more like lots.
I think there's somewhere around people that grow and I don't know. There's different scales too. So there's probably home and hobby growers galore.
Oh.
But as far as farms, I think there's 3 in the greater Knoxville area. You got E.T. Fungi, Mossy Creek Mushrooms, Everything Mushrooms, which is in Knoxville. I don't know if they grow mushrooms. I think they just sell kits though.
Oh.
So it's like a little information knowledge space about mushrooms, and you just walk in and they have grow kits and books and mushroom drinks, and I think they sell dried mushrooms there.
Okay.
Foraged mushrooms.
Not that many though.
Not that many. No.
Yeah, that is surprising for me.
There's a lot of people that do it out of their house too. So I think I know another guy up in Jefferson City. I knew 2 guys in Jefferson City that grow small amounts out of their house for the farmer's market or to sell to chefs. So a lot of people can utilize small spaces, such as an extra room, just to go crazy with and see how many mushrooms you can grow in it.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So
a
lot of people just like to
play with it.
Yeah, play with it.
Yeah, that is awesome, because I think there is a lot of knowledge that goes, but it's not that complicated if you start with a kit or something more pre-made, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Very cool. Do you have any advice for young people, like they're kind of looking for something to do or trying to find their passion, or what can you say?
You're never gonna find it while you're looking on your phone. You have to get out and do it. You have to experience it. You have to try things. You'll never know sitting there questioning it, thinking it. You just gotta go full force. There is no, if you find something you think you might like, just do it. Don't even question it. The question should be, how can I do it? And then in the moment of doing it, you can figure out, if you do or don't want to do it or keep on doing it. Just keep the train moving.
Thank you so much, because that is what I keep telling my son all the time.
Yeah.
Just go and do.
Yeah.
Experience that. If you don't like it, there is no problem. Just quit it and start doing another thing. Just do. Like, that first step is what you need. You have to take that first step. Mm-hmm. And and
it's a big step.
Yeah, just keep moving and trying different things, and at one point you're gonna find. So even for me, I have been an engineer for 27 years and I made a big change. So that's not that you cannot change. At any point you can change. Yeah. But if you don't try, you never know.
Yeah, you just gotta get out there and do it.
Yeah.
And that first step is it's a big step, definitely. You just have to hop into it.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. So hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have your mushrooms at Walnut Kitchen and Amici. And once you have your definite name, brand, logo, everything settled, then you share with us so we can help advertise and communicate and help you grow, because that is what we want.
Thank you.
Those local business, healthy, sustainable, that is the way we want to live in the future.
Full circle.
Yeah. So we all need to help each other, and we'll get there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yay.
Thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was awesome. Very nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Thank you guys so much for listening. It means a lot to me that you chose to be here. To help Mama Terra's mission of making the world a disease-free place for generations to come, you can follow the show, write a review, or talk to your friends about it. You can also subscribe to my newsletter. Every week, I craft good health and wellness tips, recipes, and book recommendations with love and care, just for you. My intention is to give you information and resources to help you make good choices and feel well. Find the link to subscribe in the show notes. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you again for being here. We have lots of new episodes coming up, so stay tuned. And remember, good is what makes you feel well.
Toma banho de cachoeira, abraça uma pessoa